आज today my topic of discussion is future, and this future talk is not related to 10 years, 20 years, but what will happen to humanity in the future. Future is infinite, and talks on future is essential because we are trustee of this planet, and as a trustee and as a well-wisher of this planet, as well as our successive generations, we should think what will happen on this planet in times to come. What are major trends I do visualize and I feel to talk? Every mind is endowed by Almighty to think what I perceive as a future. Nation states are struggling for the oceans, for the biological diversities, natural resources, viruses, climate control, sustainability, etc. etc. If I quote one book, Factfulness, if the estimates of this book go right as per the data mentioned in that book till 2100, then humanity is learning how to handle unprecedented situations with regard to planet crisis. When I use the term planet crisis, it's not a subjective kind of consideration. Climate crisis, environmental crisis, and human value crisis. Unfortunately, we are relegated to a position where we are in dichotomous position to think how we survive and how we become efficient. Efficiency and survivals are the issues which we have to handle and our generation is to handle. Bringing the discussion to the more contextual perspective, what are the problems of the contemporary world? On the one hand, the pandemic is going after 100 years, and we all have seen how the world could be shut down, and we are emerging, struggling to come out of that. God bless us. God bless humanity. On the other hand, nation states are struggling, rather aspiring to reinvent their history, rediscover their history, and are indulged in bullying and creating global conflicts, regional conflicts, which may remain very, very difficult to control, turning into Third World War. The problem comes when the emerging power and established power do indulge in the conflictual modes. At this point of time, United States is no doubt the world superpower. Fortunately, it is democracy. And fortunately it is not expansionist. Gone are the days of the when communist contentment, etc., etc. Now USA is more or less convinced that in the long run only the democratic and open source capitalism will compete the world. With this narrative, USA is convinced. But there are aberrations and exceptions. What happened with China? China did a very clever game. It imported techno-capitalism of USA. It empowered it with a lot of technologies and treasury kind of things in terms of capital gains, and then threatening the international world order in terms of bullying or trying to substitute United States as a superpower. The pandemic, which spread for last 1.5 years and almost 2 years, you can think of, was a testing stone. The Chinese leadership thought that the democratic leaderships cannot take proper decisions, cannot be efficient in their crisis handling, therefore they are the systems which will go down in their credibilities, and totalitarian regimes, which they call as communist regimes, for the sake of name, will take timely decisions and quick decisions and effective decisions with all wherewithals of support ecosystem. And they beat their chests as if their efficiencies are far more than the democratic regimes. When democracy is in question, it is an emotional and a global issue. Democracy is not a matter of our passions, but it should be generational obsession. Democratic paths in all the walks of life and government ecosystem are the goals. When we talk of democratic way of life, it is not only the electoral democracy, but stakeholder democracy, where when we are taking decisions for any situation, all the stakeholders should be consulted, consented, and then majority of stakeholders should consent what decisions are being taken in entirety with regard to a particular situation. As on this date, there is no alternate of democracy. Democracy has evolved after centuries of struggles and intellectual contributions. If we forget democracy, we forget generational struggles. Today, I am more obsessed with this kind of expression because today is 2nd October 2021, and great grandfather of India, Rashtrapita Mahatma Gandhi, was born on this occasion. So the discussion becomes more relevant to discuss. Democracy and rule of law. These two are inseparable kind of situations. Transparency is the soul of democracy. Rule of law is the body of democracy. And elections are the bones of democracy. Being democratically elected doesn't mean that you have the infinite mandate to experiment with the values enshrined in the Constitution. The Constitution of India proposes to have a faith in the rule of law extended to the rule by policy. And policy should be transparent to all stakeholders. Rule by law is okay, but rule by policy is the major residual area where rules do not touch, policies do touch. Policies embrace major space than the laws. Therefore, I do believe that policies have to adhere the jurisprudence of rule of law, due process of law, procedures established by law in broader contextual proposition of democracy. We have left the monarchical systems, and if anybody believes that he is a monarch and he has the only prerogative or privilege to think what India is, he is mistaken. Not only reading the Constitution of India, but understanding the ethos of democracy established in India by the Constitution of India. My simple understanding of the word is that if democracy remains and democracy exists in the future, which is must, then the global rivalry for resources, competencies must be harmonized, and rule-based international order is the only solution. When there is a chaos, the social contract theory teaches us how to create order in the chaos. These days, which I am envisioning and visualizing, that globe is going toward a chaos enthused and aspired by emerging power and a status quo ensured by established power. With this scenario, what will happen to the world? Because the global histories and the global civilizations have been shaped by aspiring powers and established powers. So nation, state level, there are hardly any problems, but international political regimes and international orders are under the big threats of emerging and established power dichotomies. China has prematurely thought that it can replace the global order by bullying the world and by showing arrogance that it can do anything and go scot free. For example, the virus investigation. The pandemic is not the issue of blame. Pandemic must be investigated, and pandemic should be a learning point how to stop the future pandemics. The way China blocked the investigation of pandemic is insult to not the world but more to the established power of the world, that is USA. If USA doesn't have balls to investigate a pandemic which started from China and which has killed almost legally 5 million people of the world and informally maybe 10 million and almost half million people of the USA, then it is a big question with regard to the integrity of power structure of a established power. Mr. Biden should know that simply believing that I am a superpower will not go true to the history of pragmatism. America cannot remain a superpower simply because it was a superpower. You have to show and prove your worth with regard to this pandemic. If Americans can be killed to the tune of 500,000 by a disease which started from a country which America cannot decouple or enforce international regime to investigate objectively, then America is on the decline. And I personally believe the decline of America and assertion by China will disturb the global peace, because then it is not a defeat of America but defeat of democracy. There can be certain leaders who run the regimes in democratic countries for a limited period, but their allegiance to the national interest must not be compromised simply because there are issues with regard to international populism or compromises. Mr. Biden, you are President of America in that time when America is expected and America should show the leadership. Simply being complacent to the American interest and teaching the whole world in crisis will not be the good for America, but it will be very bad for the democracy for a short while. I fully have a faith that totalitarians cannot win in the long term, but I am afraid of the bloodshed in between the victory of democracy again with regard to international regime and abdication of responsibilities by America. Therefore, future lies how America decides to move on. America should not think that America is safe just keeping a few nuclear weapons and technology innovation doesn't. America is America not because American continent is safe, because there are a lot of related contextualities with regard to American superpower leaderships. Therefore, America must think in Europe, Asia, Africa, how to conduct itself. I'm not saying to involve militarily, but there is only one emerging power to challenge superpower, that is China. Once China is given a lesson to remain within the confines of rule and order based international relations, I think that will suffice the global aspirations. The world will depend on these parameters, how the America conducts itself with regard to China, and if China is allowed to flourish, taking Hong Kong today, Taiwan tomorrow, and Australia maybe next time, India is already under the Chinese belligerence. China supporting all kind of evil powers, so called. There has to be balancing mechanisms. If America thinks it has a moral responsibility towards globe for being superpower of the world. Thank you very much.